You are all my children now. Ha 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 ha. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, starring Mark Patton, Kim Meyers, Robert Russler, and as the iconic horror villain Freddy Krueger, the legendary Robert Englund. The film is directed by Jack Sholder this time around. Wes Craven, I guess, wasn't interested in making a sequel to his original classic Nightmare on Elm Street. I guess they showed him a script and he didn't really care much for it, so he bowed out of the picture. So the film starts off with a really awesome dream sequence, in my opinion. We meet these young teenagers, one of them being this kid Jesse, who happens to have moved in the legendary horror house on Elm Street, where Nancy lived in the original film, that big white house with a red door. And so we just see the kids going into the school bus, getting ready to go to school, and we see the driver, and with a nice little cameo by Robert Englund there, very subtle. We see he's the bus driver, actually. I'm sure any horror fan would notice that right away, but others might not. But at any rate, we see the bus picking up different kids as it goes, and we see the bus start to pick up speed, and it starts going really fast, and which is out of the ordinary. It starts passing kids' stops, like that was my stop back there. And he starts going really faster, and the kids are like, "Stop the bus!" And then we see the bus drive off into this desert area, and we see all of a sudden the ground beneath them start to crumble out, and you see they're stuck on this one piece of rock, like 500 feet in the air, and the bus is just dangling there. So it becomes like a really sick dream sequence. It gets really dark, and we see the driver is actually Freddy Krueger. And just as it's about to slash Jesse in the face, Jesse wakes up screaming and sweating. It's just a dream, of course. Another dream with Freddy Krueger terrorizing this young teenager, Jesse. The one thing where this film actually deviates from the original film is Freddy seems to focus mainly on this kid, Jesse. And he terrorizes him. And he confronts him in his dream and says, "Jesse, kill for me. Ha 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 ha. We got special work to do, you and me. You've got the body and I've got the brains." Ha ha ha. I love that. I love that line. It's one of my favorite lines from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. He rips his scalp off and you see his brains. It's awesome. Classic Freddy, I love it. But anyway, so he actually possesses Jesse, so that's kind of where the difference, and a lot of fans have issue with that. They take issue with the fact that it becomes like a possession movie instead of the classic, nightmare premise where he terrorizes a whole group of teenagers in their dreams. Where this one, he actually possesses this young boy and makes him kill for him. So which I don't have a problem with, because if Freddy could terrorize people in their dreams and come out of the dream into reality, why couldn't he possess one person, So I don't really think it strays that far, in my opinion. But some people don't like it. Some people take issue with it. But I personally love this entry. A lot of people, I feel it's unfairly maligned, but it is definitely one of the most maligned entries in the series. Probably one of the points being that this kid, that Mark Patton, that plays Jesse, the lead in the film, is kind of like feminine. He's not like a real masculine kid. He's kind of feminine, and I guess the guy Mark Patton who plays him was openly gay. And I guess they wanted a kind of a pretty boy, like a Johnny Depp type character for the movie, which I don't have a problem with. I think he does a fine job. Except that one scene where he's dancing around in his room, that's cringe-worthy. But other than that, I think he does a fine job. Don't have a problem. And Jesse is kind of a misfit in school, and I can relate to that too. And because he's really strange, he always freaks out in his dreams, and he's really depressed and walks around really depressed looking. Falls asleep in class. He gets picked on by his kids. But he does meet this girl, Lisa, who takes to him right away. They connect right away, and she becomes his girlfriend. And she's not too shabby looking. Nice looking redhead. And together they find Nancy's diary in the house from the original film. So they find out about all she went through, and all the horror she went with, and all dealing with Freddy Krueger. And then Jesse realizes, oh, I know this guy. I see him too in my dreams. And so they kind of get together and try and find a way how they're going to stop Freddy Krueger once and for all. But along at nighttime, Freddy makes him kill people, especially one of their school teacher, the coach of gym class, who's a real freak, who's like really brutal to all the students. As one of the guys, Brady, says, he gets his kick off out of torturing kids. He's a sadomasochist. He goes to sadomasochistic bars and stuff like that. And but he gets his in the end, big time. In a freaky shower scene where he gets slashed, and it's pretty nasty scene. You see him, his whole back gets slashed, and you see the marks happening. Pretty cool gore effect there. I wouldn't say there's a lot of straight out gore in this one though. But there are some nasty death scenes. One scene in particular I think is just awesome, is when you see Freddy finally break through Jesse's body to come out into reality. You see Jesse's mouth open and you can see Freddy's eyeball inside. I really love that scene. And then you see Freddy come right through his chest and rip right through Jesse's body, and it's an awesome scene. I love it. And you just see Freddy stand there laughing, ha ha ha. And you see he takes out Jesse's friend Brady, puts his finger knives right through the door, and you see the blood pour out on the other side. It's pretty nasty. As far as Robert Englund's performance in this film, I think it's definitely one of the best in the series. Right up there with the original first film. And this film definitely carries that dark tone that the original did. It's really dark tone, and you don't really get a good look at Freddy, and you don't really get a really good look at what's going on, because it's really shot real dark. But I think that really adds to the scariness of it. It's definitely one of the scary entries. Probably say the scariest entry of Nightmare on Elm Street outside the original film. So I really like that it carries that same tone of the original film in a lot of ways. But there is definitely some cheese involved in it. There are some scenes that are cringeworthy. Like when you see this kid Jesse dancing around in his room, I'm like, oh God, really? It's horrible. You see him put on these cheesy glasses and blaring the cheesy 80s dance music, and he's like dancing around shaking his butt. I'm like, no, don't do that ever. But anyway, Lisa and Jesse team up together once Freddy comes loose out into reality, and there's a really awesome scene when they're having a big pool party, and Freddy smashes through the window, and takes out all these teenagers one by one. But one kid stops Freddy in his tracks. He's like, "Hold on, man, hold on. Just calm down. Just take it easy. We're not going to hurt you. Everything's fine. We want to help you. Just tell me how we can help you." And Freddy's like, "Help this." Another awesome scene. Love that. And that's when he has that great scene where he's like, "You're all my children now." And you see like the fire burning behind him, and he walks through the fire and disappears. I love it. There's some really great scenes in this film that I think people like forget, because they just look at some of the bad parts, and there are some definite scenes that make you cringe a little. But there's a lot of great stuff in there. A lot of classic Nightmare on Elm Street. Some great Freddy performance. Freddy has definitely some of his best one-liners in the history of the franchise, no question. But Lisa and Jesse get together. They track Freddy down to his boiler room where he killed all the young children, and they have a big epic battle with Freddy, and they take it on. They really have it out. And I won't say how it ends, but I really enjoyed this film. I think it's one of the best entries in the series. Despite what people say, it is heavily maligned to a lot of the fans out there, but I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of fun to be had in this film, and Freddy is awesome. So definitely go check out A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, and decide for yourself what you guys think about it. Don't listen to what the other fans might tell you. Just take a look at it yourself and you decide how do you like it or not. And thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared.